Want to play a game?
I do.
Okay, cool. Because that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to play a game. Yeah.
I'm down. I'm ready to play games. What kind of game you like to play?
Checkers. Checkers.
You like checkers?
I like checkers.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to play checkers.
Yeah, I love checkers.
But checkers, did you know, is also known as draughts. It has a long history dating back almost 5,000 years. The first game was discovered in the city of Ur and closely resembles our modern checkerboard. The Egyptian pharaohs played a similar game around 3,500 years ago, and the French developed their version about 3,000 years ago. Over time, the rules evolved and the game became more competitive. Checkers, uniform pieces, pawns that become kings.
I played a lot of checkers. I like checkers. It's a fun game. But I guess out of the board games like that, my favorite game is chess. I love playing chess.
Yeah, chess is good.
And
not as good as checkers.
Well, here's some history on chess then.
All right.
Since we're going this direction with it, and this is what I found on the history of chess. Chess, on the other hand, has a history spanning 1,500 years. It originated in India, and it quickly spread to Persia. As the Arabs invaded, the Muslim community embraced chess, and it eventually reached Spain and southern Europe. Our modern chess game has emerged from peace changes in Europe during the 15th century, and chess tournaments began in the late 19th century. The interesting thing about chess is that you have more than one dynamic as far as players go. As in checkers, they say that all your game pieces are called pawns until they reach the other side of the board, conquer that, and become king. But in chess, there's pawns, knights, bishops, rooks, queens, then the king. Each of these pieces have a distinct movement. That's kind of why I like chess, because each move has to be done strategically. Even the moves you're not going to make now have to be done strategically, because each move you make strategically, there's at least 4 or 5 other pieces in front of you that are your opponent that are being planned against you. So
I like checkers because checkers is a straightforward movement.
Yeah.
Very transparent.
yeah. Well, that was an interesting discussion on games, I guess, to start the week out with.
Yes. Well, what we're going to do is we are going to talk about topics that we can relate to checkers or chess
All throughout the week.
all throughout the week. Hope you listen every day this week to find out what the next move is. Welcome to Is This Thing Working?
Hey, please, before we get started today, make sure that you share this show with all your friends. Make sure that you hit the like button. And please subscribe to us.
Yeah. Subscribe to our channels on YouTube and Rumble. And thank you to all of our wonderful audience for your help in spreading the word about our show, Is This Thing Working, our podcast. We appreciate everything. And we have a big day today. We're going to start out with news that happened over the weekend. One of the things that we wanted to talk about first is that helicopter crash that happened here on the border in Del Rio. And here it was breaking news. A federal National Guard helicopter crashed in Starr County, Texas in La Grula with 4 people on board, including at least 1 Border Patrol agent. Sources say the agent did not survive. It is not known how many others were killed. This was at the time that it was breaking news. This is Allie Bradley with News Nation. 3 individuals ended up passing away on the Lakota helicopter assigned to federal Southern Border Support were killed in the crash. Multiple sources say the pilot and co-pilot, male and female team, died along with the Border Patrol agent on board. The lone survivor is a female National Guard soldier who is still in critical condition. We're praying for their families. Here is a statement from Secretary Mayorkas on the death of U.S. Border Patrol agents Chris Luna and 2 National Guardsmen. He says, "We are devastated by the tragic death of Border Patrol agent Chris Luna, an heroic public servant who lost his life Friday in a helicopter crash while on a Border Patrol mission in Texas. 2 National Guardsmen were also killed, and 1 National Guardsman was seriously injured. Every single day, our Border Patrol agents place themselves in harm's way so that the rest of us can be safe and secure. My thoughts and the deepest condolences of our department are with the Agent Luna's family, loved ones, and colleagues, and with those of the National Guardmen who lost their lives. We hope for the injured service members' swift recovery and hold our National Guard colleagues and their families in our thoughts and prayers."
You want to know something? I know he had to come out and he had to make a statement. That's cool. That's fine. I get it. You got to go out there and do that. Can you go back to that statement, though, for just a second? Because,
Yep.
Yeah. And the reason that we've sat here for 3 years and we have watched this border. We have sat here for 3 years and we have watched him lie to us. We have sat here and watched him do absolutely nothing. We have sat here and watched President Biden on the very first day sign executive orders to keep this border wide open, to keep people flowing through our border, invading our country wide open, and not on top of the Lake and Riley stuff, on top of other people that have been senselessly raped, murdered, tortured, whatever. You know, if you look at it, it comes back to illegal migrants, illegal immigrants crossing our border. And then for him to come out here and act as though we've got a crisis that you guys cannot fix immediately is bullshit. Boy, he makes
You know, and I guess I just don't understand, because he's like, you know, the agents place themselves in harm's way so that the rest of us can be safe and secure.
Thank you.
But
Exactly.
why would they be in harm's way if our border was secure?
If our border was closed,
And secure.
exactly. Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I went on and read a little bit more of what Allie Bradley had to report, and she reports a statement, of course, and then she reports that multiple Border Patrol sources say cartel members were watching the military helicopter on a drone when it went down. When it went down in Starr County, you can hear them laughing as they zoom into the crash. This happened in the La Grula area in the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah,
Yeah, can you believe that?
exactly.
So how did it go down?
Who knows?
No one. I mean, I
we
haven't
haven't heard
looked it
that
up.
yet.
I haven't figured
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah, what have they said was the cause of the crash? Is that still unknown? You know, to us. Hey, man, and think about this. You know, when I read that story, and I read the story about the cartel members laughing about the crash going down. Do you know what my first thought was? The Black Hawk Down situation. You know.
Yeah, you did. You mentioned that.
Okay, here we are with our stuff hitting the ground, our people dying, and you've got the enemy standing over there laughing at it. Doesn't this remind you of 20 years ago Iraq, 20 years ago Afghanistan? You know, that kind of thing. Doesn't this remind you of that in a lot of ways? Man, if you don't think terrorism hasn't been brought to our country now, I'm telling you, this is what we've got.
Yes.
This is what we're facing.
Yeah, but did you realize that the Army National Guard ordered an aviation safety stand down of all of its helicopter units following 2 accidents in February, including a crash that killed 2 Mississippi Army National Guard pilots? The stand down went into effect February 26th, and the length is undetermined, according to Army National Guard spokesman. So they've already had problems with helicopters already.
Yeah.
You know, sounds to me like they're going to try to push this one under the rug like they have all the other ones, so that we're not paying attention
Yeah.
to how many of them is going on
Are we having
in our country.
Yeah, and are we having technical issues? Are we having technology issues, or are we having operator error? That's another
Yeah.
question. I'm real curious about.
Yeah, me too. You know, so we'll be checking into that one. We'll be keeping you updated on what's going on with that.
Yeah, kind of ranting back to my thing about Mayorkas and his comments on the border. Also, I guess if everybody's been paying attention, then you heard all the uproar Joe Biden calling Lake and Riley's murder an illegal immigrant, and how Nancy Pelosi said, well, he should have said undocumented. You know.
Oh my gosh.
And then he comes out.
Let's listen to him, because he really says it all in this little piece of video. Have a listen.
But during your response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Lake and Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look, when I spoke about the difference between Trump and me, one of the things I talked about on the border was that the way he talks about vermin, the way he talks about these people polluting the blood. I talked about what I'm not going to do, what I won't do. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country. The reason our economy is growing. we have to control the border and more orderly flow, but I don't share his view at all.
So
I'm sorry there, Mr. Biden, but illegal immigrants didn't build this country.
Especially the ones that are coming over.
The ones that are coming here now.
They have nothing to do with America whatsoever. They have no love for America. They have built nothing.
Exactly. The point is, illegals didn't build this country. Immigrants that came over here and applied for citizenship, looking for a better life for themselves and for their family, are the ones that helped build this country. People that don't recognize our laws and people that cross our border illegally through the help of the cartel, through the help of whatever NGO, or let's say it, from the help of our federal government putting you on a plane and flying you all over the country. Those criminals,
You know what they're doing?
I got against the mic. Those criminals didn't build our country.
Well, what they're doing is they're bringing them over here and saying they're building our country and putting them to work on our infrastructure. That's what they're doing. That's what they're claiming our economy is better because they were allowed to hire these illegal immigrants coming over here illegally to our country to build our roads.
Well, they will tell you they're building our roads, but I guarantee you if you look out across there, they're the ones standing there with the yellow vest and the flags telling you to move over to the other lane.
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing. Yeah, we see
Man,
it all over the place. I know it does.
God.
And then we go from this commie tactic, right, to another one. FDNY has gone on full communist against the people.
The FDNY higher ups have, yes.
Yes, I think it's crazy, man. This FDNY Commissioner Laura Kavanaugh is seeking out those who booed New York Attorney General Letitia James and cheered for Trump during a department ceremony. And now this Laura Kavanaugh is hunting down firefighters who dared to boo. You know, this one right here really got to me, especially when I read her statement when she came out and said and had bullet points on what they need to do to correct this issue. She says, I'm here to address the behavior of firefighters that attended Thursday's promotion. The behavior we saw and heard was grossly inappropriate. Protesting, heckling, or booing anyone at a ceremony is simply unacceptable. Then she goes on to say, this was a promotion ceremony to honor members who made sacrifices and worked hard to achieve this day. They had close family and friends there to celebrate with them. And this is all in bullet points.
Right. So she's going to stand there and wag her finger and scold them for freedom of speech.
Yes.
Yeah.
She says it was disrespectful to the speakers, to the promoted members and their families. This was not a political event, and Letitia James was not there to give a political speech. She was there to support her friend and her new chaplain, Pamela Holmes. Pamela invited her friend to attend the ceremony, but she's got these in bullet points.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and honestly, it's all emotion.
Yeah.
You know, it was disrespectful. This was not a political event. She was there to support her friend. Members have a right to political beliefs, but you don't have a right to make a job-related ceremony political in nature. Yes, you do have that right.
Yeah.
You have that right to do that.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. What they're wanting to do is investigate this matter and send you to what? A re-education camp. Okay.
That right there is what you need to be hearing and listening for.
Yeah, and here's how they're going to do it. You know, they can sit there and say, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Well, they're going to do it, true enough, and they're going to do it through the form of their higher-up management people. But did you realize there are other memos circulating around that come from, like I say, the Uniformed Fire Officers Association and the Uniformed Firefighters Association, and these are circulating around. Here's one of them. This is what it says. It says, this is the talking points. Please have the DC start the visit tomorrow on the 9X and continue on the 6X. I understand that this is late notice, so have the visits continue on Sunday if necessary. BITS is investigating this, so they will figure out who the members are. I recommend they come forward. I have been told by the commissioner it will be better for them if they come forward and we don't have to hunt them down.
Wow.
So think about this. This is not just some harmless, open-end threat from some individual with communist leanings, man. This is actually institutionalized. These people have, it's so much bigger than we think, man. When they talk about bits in that right there, this is what bits is. If anybody wants to understand what bits is, the Bureau of Institutional and Transitional Services, it is responsible for designating forensic placements in OMH facilities after court orders for hospitalization. So let me read this again now, slower and better. The Bureau of Institutional and Transitional Services is responsible for designating forensic placements in OMH facilities after court orders for hospitalization. Do we understand what OMH stands for? The Office of Mental Health. So if you come out and speak against the system, if you come out and you speak for President Trump and your support of President Trump, and you speak out in dissent against the communist ways of Letitia James and the higher-ups in the FDNY, they determine that they will send you to a re-education camp, which is in the form of, from what this says, they will designate you a forensic placement, and they will place you in a mental institution for re-education by a court order.
Whoa.
Because that's basically what it's telling you.
Yes.
Designating forensic placements in New York State Office of Mental Health facilities after a court order for hospitalization. So listen to what that's telling you, man. This is what they are advocating for, is if they don't like what you say, they can call you crazy and throw you in a mental institution.
That's exactly what they're talking about. You know, because they say next steps, have DCV visit each firehouse that had a member promoted. Relay this bullet point message. They should understand that BITS is gathering video and identifying members that brought discredit to the department. We want the members to come forward. They will come to headquarters to be educated why their behavior is unacceptable.
Yeah. You know, this is kind of the same thing they were talking about doing with Jordan Peterson in Canada with the threat of pulling his license from him.
Yes.
Re-education, or we're going to pull your license.
Right.
Just like with this. Re-education, or we're going to ruin you.
What kind of re-education do you think that they're going to give you?
Well, they're going to get you in there and indoctrinate you and brainwash you. And
does it work?
You tell me. Look how infiltrated we are. You think it works?
It must.
Yeah.
It must work. You know, because look at, you know, this is happening right here in America, but the same thing is going on over there in Haiti right now.
See, this is my point with you asked, does it work? Just like with this, Letitia James didn't just get mad because she's a commie and a bunch of people booed her. That's not what's going on here. That on the surface, that's what they want you to believe it is that she got butthurt and made this threat. But when you look back at the Bureau of what? I don't even care enough to even say what it is. When you go back and you look at the Bureau of Institutional and Transitional Services, the whole name says it all.
They're trying to transition you to be a Democrat. Is that what it is?
No, the Bureau of Institutional and Transitional. You speak out in dissent against those in charge, they're going to call you crazy. They're going to institutionalize you. They're going to medicate you, and they're going to brainwash you until you transition into being what they want you to be in their society. Boom. There you go.
That's exactly what they're going to do. That's what they're trying to do.
Guys, shit, this ain't conspiracy.
And we're fighting that. That's what we are fighting right now, and why we bring this to you. Because this is important for everyone to understand that if you speak out against our government right now, then you are going to be sent to some mental health place accused of speaking and thinking the wrong way.
Well, especially in New York. I don't know about anywhere else, but I know right now in New York, this is exactly what they're saying they can do. Nuts, man.
It is nuts.
Yeah, speaking of conspiracy, This ain't conspiracy. They love to call it conspiracy also, but this ain't conspiracy right here. And we're talking about more J6 news.
Molly Hemingway broke the news in the Federalist. I believe it was on Friday. It was everywhere, far and wide over the weekend. Why they come out with this stuff over the weekend so we can't discuss it during the week? I'll never understand why we have to wait. But in an exclusive, Molly Hemingway wrote on the Federalist, Liz Cheney, January 6th committee, suppressed exonerating evidence of Trump's push for National Guard. What I think is so crazy about this is we all knew this. We all knew that Trump officials asked for 10,000 National Guard troops.
Yeah, they said
we knew this.
Yeah, he said it over and over.
Over and over and over. And Kash Patel come out. Several people came out. Miller, I remember he came out. I believe his name is Christopher Miller. He came out and said that Trump authorized 10,000 National Guard. But Liz Cheney and her January 6th committee suppressed evidence that this happened. They came out. It was a previously hidden transcript that has been obtained by the Federalist. And it shows that Cheney and her committee falsely claimed they had no evidence to support Trump officials. The White House had communicated its desire for 10,000 National Guard troops. In fact, an early transcribed interview conducted by the committee included precisely that evidence from a key source. The interview, which Cheney attended and personally participated in, was suppressed from public release until now. Deputy Chief of Staff Anthony Arnado's first transcribed interview with the committee was conducted on January 28, 2022. In it, he told Cheney and her investigators that he overheard White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows push Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser to request as many National Guard troops as she needed to protect the city. This right here, we have known since the very beginning.
Exactly.
We have known all of this. You know, he also testified President Trump had suggested 10,000 would be needed to keep the peace at the public rallies and protests scheduled for January 6th. Ornato also described White House frustration with Acting Secretary of Defense Christopher Miller's slow deployment of assistance on that afternoon. Not only did the committee not accurately characterize the interview, they suppressed the transcript from public view. On top of that, committee allies began publishing critical stories and even conspiracy theories about Ornato ahead of follow-up interviews with him. Ornato was a career Secret Service official who had been detailed to the security position in the White House. Well, so Cheney, who frequently points out and tells everyone, check the transcript, documents, exhibits in our meticulously sourced 800-plus page final report. She keeps referring to go here, this is what we found, this is what we found, this is all the documents you ever need. And in the interim, you've remembered where they've deleted documents.
Yeah.
They've tore up documents. They, have withheld documents. And I guess they expected no one to find these documents.
Well, and that's the slick thing about this article. Even the article says that she frequently points skeptics of her investigation to the government publishing office website that posted that she said transcripts, documents, and exhibits. She says all of this is meticulously sourced 800-page final report the whole time knowing that they hid this. My question is, somebody, even if you're told to go hide this stuff, if you're told to go hide this stuff, in my eyes, the moment you went, okay, and you went and done it, you're the one that's responsible, and we need to find you. Who is this person that went and hid this stuff? Now we found out it has been hidden. Where did it come from?
Where is it at?
Where did it appear now so that we know about this? Where is this, and who hid it? Not who told you to hide it, but who hid it.
Exactly. Well, it says here in the Zero Hedge, I pulled this article up. It gives a little bit of background, and it also gives what happened after the fact, because it says here the former January 6th Select Committee apparently withheld Mr. Arnado's critical witness testimony from the American people because it contradicted their predetermined narrative. Mr. Arnado's testimony proves what Mr. Meadows has said all along. President Trump did, in fact, offer 10,000 National Guard troops to secure the U.S. Capitol, which was turned down, said Representative Barry Loudermilk. His subcommittee is reviewing the work on the January 6th committee following accusations of unethical behavior at the expense of accuracy, along with collusion with other Democrat efforts at political persecution. This is where I think that we need to focus on Liz's reaction to this coming out. Liz Cheney is all over social media on Saturday. She called, Mark Levin called her out and actually called her sleazy Liz Cheney needs to receive some of the Stalinist medicine she introduced into the body politic. Cheney responded calling Molly Hemingway a bozo and directed people to various sections of the January 6th report in which Secretary of Defense Miller, the guy who was slow to deploy assistance, said Trump never ordered 10,000 troops and that Kash Patel is not a credible witness as determined by a judge with a conflict noted below.
You notice how, too, they always go to deflect and plausible deniability. This is their game all the time, deflect and plausible deniability. That's why I say you got to get all the way down to the person that actually hid this.
Right.
That actually is the one that hid this.
Well, from what it looks like she was the one that hid it. But you note, one thing you didn't know, did you notice that Cheney never addresses the suppression of information?
No.
Never addresses it.
That's the deflection I'm talking about.
Yep. So, but actual evidence that Cheney is lying from the Secretary of Defense. The president concurs in activation of the DCNG to support law enforcement. Denver District Judge Sarah Wallace, a Democrat donor, she's the one that said that Kash Patel was not a credible witness. Now, what I don't understand is how come a judge gets that power?
Right.
How does she know that he's not a credible witness? Because he was in the Trump administration.
Did he appear before her in court and give testimony and give the appearance of being credible or not credible?
Yes.
Yeah, I get that. Again, what they do is deflect and create plausible deniability.
Yes. I can remember back then when President Trump was even putting on Twitter and everything that we needed National Guard. Muriel Bowser on X, on Twitter, said no.
Yep.
She put out a statement and
I remember.
everything. So everyone knows that he did this already. I don't understand why this is coming out now and why they let the Democrats have the word, why they let them have that narrative that he did not when we all did. This right here is what drives me crazy. Why does the Democrats always get the narrative? Why do they always get, even though it's false, every bit of it's false all the time, every single time, but they let them do it. They let the media do it, and I'm over it. I am so over lies. I'm tired of lies.
That's the game they play. Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. You know, we couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.